All right, to our first big story. As part of efforts to ensure that today's governorship election in Edo State is violence-free, a special unit of the Nigerian Army has been deployed to provide security for the electorate during the election.
The deployment of the special forces was supervised in Benin City by the General Officer commanding the 2nd Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Kasimu Abdul Karim. Correspondent Carl Ofunye completes the story.
That was the arrival of the General Officer commanding GOC 2nd Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Kasimu Abdul Karim, at the 322 Artillery Regiment, Nigerian Army Cantonment, Benin City. Even the heavy downpour for hours in the ancient city could not deter him from coming to the place to address the troops of the 133 Special Task Force Battalion from Jaji. General Abdul Karim, who later spoke with journalists on hand after addressing his officers and men in the tone and language he wanted, said the deployment was to forestall a breakdown of law and order during the election.
We provide outer perimeter defense for those people to go about their elections peacefully without any insecurity. We have to make sure that the environment is safe for every one of them to exercise its righteous responsibility.
The Special Task Force deployed to cover the Edo State election comprises 11 officers and 515 men, and they are mobile and answerable to the Chief of Army Staff only. And incidentally, it was this same GOC 2nd Division of the Nigerian Army, as we were told, that established the Special Battalion when he was the commandant of Jaji Army Formation. Carl Ofonye, TVC News, Benin City, Edo State.
All right, now on September the 7th, the Nigeria Police and the Department of State Service announced that credible intelligence made available to security agencies indicated plans by insurgents to attack vulnerable communities and soft targets with high population during the Salah celebrations between September 12th and 13th.
According to the security operatives, Edo State was among the states earmarked for these planned attacks by the extremists. A day after, INEC succumbed to calls by security agencies to postpone the election schedule for Saturday, September the 10th until today, September the 28th. That decision by INEC was received with mixed feelings, of course, but the electorate and political parties in the statehood rounded up preparations for the election.
And now it is election day proper and all seem set for the commencement of the polls. The Inspector General of Police has directed that vehicular movement be restricted till 6 p.m. today when the election would have been concluded. Now, this is to ensure a free, fair and credible election, secure electoral process, enable eligible voters exercise their franchise freely and voluntarily, and protect electoral materials as well as adequate security for the election. All right, now our correspondents are across the length and breadth of Edo State, covering from Edo Central, Edo South and Edo North. Everywhere, all the local governments in Edo State are covered by our correspondents, and certainly will bring you minute by minute updates of what's going on, how the people are reacting, how the people are exercising and expressing themselves, what they are saying and how they're saying it, and how they're voting and expressing themselves.
What they're saying, how they're saying
how they're saying it, exactly, because all of those matter as well. Now, with us in the studio is a public affairs analyst, Razak Okoloba. It's good to have you. Olukoba, sorry. Olukoba.
Sorry,
don't mind. The election tension is everywhere.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. It's good to have you join us right now.
Thank you very much.
Now, the shifting of the election to a new date, and here we are today. Now, if you take a look at the assessment of some of the reasons given for the shift in the election, especially as it concerns security, we have about 25,000 police officers, about 12,000 NSCDC, 500 soldiers. It looks like there's going to be war or something. Mm-hmm. What's your take on the amount of security personnel for this election?
In the first instance, we should first commend the security agent for the intelligence report they gave to Nigerians. And we must begin to have trust in our institutions. Because why are they there? If we have police, DSS, the army, that tends to give you security advice, we have to believe them. And that's how it is everywhere in the world. The things that win war is morale. And one of the things that brings morale into soldiers, police, and security agents is the confidence you have in them, is the goodwill they enjoy from the people. So, adhering to the advice they gave and the report they wrote is a good thing. And the Edo election is a peculiar election in such that it draws the attention of all Nigerians because it's the only election around now. So there's the capacity to be able to withstand whatever obstacle that might arise as a security challenge. In any case, election is supposed to be a festival where you and I talk about how will your life be better, how my life will be better, and you will convince me that it's the PDP that can make your life better. I will say no, it's APC. That's what election is all about. But it's a pity that it's like that in this part of the world, and that's why parties should be encouraged to do more of manifesto, more of programs, more of what are you going to do for us than wielding thugs, wielding the capacity to cause mayhem if I'm not going to win this election. In fact, you know, there's a particular party in UK, the Reigning Lunatics, who contest with the intention of losing woefully, is to promote this spirit that there's sinful grace in losing an election. Something is good about losing an election. So such a political education must also begin in Nigeria. And that's the only guarantee for this time we want to hold the election. We deploy a section of our 70% of our policemen to do that. But by the time people begin to see election as a festival, you don't need security again. Nobody will fight over who again, because the two candidates or the 3, 4, 5 candidates that are contesting, it's clear that what they are coming to do is that I want to better your life. So why are you fighting? If there is no special interest, the two candidates or the 3, 4, 5 candidates that are contesting, it's clear that what they are coming to do is that I want to better your life. So why are you fighting? If there is no special interest in it, rather than saying that I want to make your life better. And if the voters felt that, no, this Mr. A can do it better than Mr. B, there's no basis for fighting. The thing is to carry your own program and give it to Mr. B that has won the election. That what can you gain from this?
Exactly.
What can you pick from this program? And that's
all about the people after all.
That should be the direction of political parties, because it's actually about political parties. It's not about the people. By the time political and government has a role to play, governments must put down that roadmap and force it on political parties that no, this is how it should go. Elections shouldn't be a do or die affair. Whereas there are challenges in the country such that we can't be deploying police to do unconventionality all the time, because ballot boxes guiding, deploying police is unconventional for police. But this is for our internal security. That's even for challenge.
But in this case, you even have military men also deployed.
These are unconventional. These are unconventional.
And I remember during the 2015 general election, there were a lot of contentions that the armies shouldn't be part of the election. They shouldn't even be seen at the venue of the election. But they seem to be allowed here.
Yes, because that region is because you can't say, for instance, in the northeast now, there's no political activity or major activity that draws attention of people around that. You will not. It won't be sensible for government to deploy military there. So all this challenge will disappear if you redirect our focus on what is the essence of that election itself. If we redirect it, so the voters will know that the people who are coming to serve has demonstrated that if you vote me, fine. If you don't vote me, it means you think the other guy is better than me. If it is with that spirit, nobody will kill each other, kill people over each other.
And it's the responsibility. Some people have said these are all allegations. The allegations of importation of thugs or perhaps of mercenaries into the state, that they are all mere allegations.
So it comes back to the question of restructuring. You know, the reason why that is coming up is because the other guys felt that the report written by security agents is being doctored. But if it's structured in Nigeria in such a way that the army is a separate institution that does not have the influence of political people or the executive, they become the head of army institution through their own hierarchy. Police rise through their own hierarchy. And then, so if they write a report, no politician will say that the report is being doctored. That's what the question of restructuring comes from.
The point is the security apparatus in this Nigeria are politically influenced.
No, what I mean is that it is a legitimate right for politicians to think so. Who is not part of the incumbent government? What's your opinion on that? What I mean is that my own opinion is that I look at Buhari and I look at what he's up to. I've been able to assess him. I've been able to size him up. I look at him as someone who has come to demonstrate that he has a capacity to offer something. And having that at the back of my mind, I know that he won't be part of a situation where we say Oshomole's candidate, APC candidate, he should do that. Particularly with the process that brought him to power. It's a popular election, it's a people's election. So it is in the interest of Buhari, it is in the interest of APC, PDP, and every stakeholder around this election, the INEC, the police, to ensure that the peoples will take the order of the day. It's their own interest. Because our assessment all over the world now is going to get better. Before now, it is, if you are going to Ghana, Ghanaian citizens, the rest of the world and Nigeria, it's always 3Q. But today, we thank God with the rating, with what the Buhari government has been able to do. There's been that trust. You hear what the United Nations chairman said. He said Buhari is respected all over the world, and that's why people willingly return our people are now willing. They have not returned, but they are now willing to return the loot because they know that.
But some part of Edo State feel differently about what you're talking about.
No,
some part of it. Some people there don't really
agree with you. The solution you want is different from the solution you need. From part of Edo, my fellas, let's have a free day, and the security apparatus might feel that no. This is the reason why you pay your salary. This is the reason why you employ us. You don't know, you don't have the information that we have. So at times, what you might think is a solution might not be the solution. Who would they hold responsible if there are breakdowns of law? They will say you are supposed to preempt the situation. You are not supposed. In security at times, you don't look at sentiment. You don't moralize. You don't look at what people say. Provided that the action you are going to take is not going to trample on the right of Nigeria. If it's just to secure, there's no big deal indeed. It's unconventional.
But there have been allegations where you have the security men being compromised during election. Rivers State, for instance, there were allegations of some policemen who were compromised during the election. And don't forget that the central authority for the Nigerian police is from Abuja.
Now is the time where such things can no longer happen. The social media is also a factor that has tremendously, apart from the noise the civil society make, there are a lot of social media who will never come out of their room to do all those stuff that we are saying. It's all over the country now. So everybody is careful. So
there are levels of checks and balances.
Yeah, balance.
The people checking the system by themselves.
And I can assure you that the Edo election, because the entire nation is watching, I don't think anybody will have an ulterior motive in mind, because this is a time where everybody thinks it is sensible, it is morally correct, it is godly for people that really win elections to emerge. People now realize that this is the time. It's a waste of time. If people don't want you, because the first thing governors, president, office holders who emerge through electoral process enjoy is the goodwill. If you don't enjoy the good, do whatever you want to do. It's not going to be a popular policy. But if you emerge as a popular candidate, as winning the election through electoral process, no matter what you do, it's going to, and that's very central, that's important. The challenge you are having in the country now, which is expected, if you belong to a nation that has indulged your leadership to a point that they have squandered your common patrimony to this extent, you are going to pass through what you are passing through. It will have been tougher for Buhari if he did not have the goodwill, if he does not enjoy any goodwill from Nigeria. So
okay,
this is a time where we must.
Let's go back to Edo State now and look at the build-up to the election.
Yeah,
we had lots and lots of hate campaign, hate speeches all over the place. In fact, some persons within themselves, not even members of political party necessarily, packaging campaign materials that talk about, in fact, call other people using spirit of darkness. There are so many adjectives to qualify that reflect hatred, kind of hate campaign against the opposition. How does that compound the democracy we're trying to build when we say, okay, fine, we're nascent democracy, they often call it nascent democracy, but how does that build up the kind of political culture that we are trying to put in place?
You see, all over the world, there are hate speeches, and it's not correct. In America, in Russia, in Nigeria, anywhere. So that we won't start saying that Clinton abused Trump yesterday and Trump abused Clinton. So it's not normal. If we have identified what Clinton has said about Trump and Clinton is abusive and want to use as a yardstick here, it is not normal. So also, the hated speeches, I think we should try as much as possible to put it down. But no matter how much I hate you, no matter how much I try to convince people to hate you, if you have a clean record, there's nothing I'm going to say about you. I can begin to concur whatever I want to concur. That is why parties should be careful in the candidate from now onward, particularly from the conclusion of the last election. Buhari, look at, it's an unfair campaign to say that Buhari does not have a certificate, primary school certificate or secondary school, or he does not have Army's endorsement while he was in school. It's an unfair campaign. So that's why parties should be careful now. The candidates you are bringing on board, you must do your internal work. You must make sure that what is called clean, this is guy called clean. If you're looking for clean, the definition of clean is this guy that I want to put on board as our candidate, because you can't remove it from it. Even local government, even schools elections, institutions election, when I was contesting too, people look at my file, people look at all sorts of, did I use fake results, we are not paying salaries way back in schools. What you earn that time is even detention. But people still go to look at your fight. Councillors, they do it for councillors. Traditional contest between two families, they do that. So you cannot remove it, but that does not justify it. You must use it to the barest minimum, because what you are coming for is not who is good in abusing each other. What you are coming for is the economy of Edo State. How do we better our life? So that should not be the central point. The central point should be programs, manifestos. How do we take Edo to the next level? That should be central to what the debate is all about. I watch the debate, it's fine, but the hate speech must stop. You can't remove it. Emotions flow. Unguided moments will come where someone will say, you heard what Trump said. He said, I know bad things I can say about Clinton's family. But I said to myself that no, I won't say it. But I said a lot of things about Clinton's family, though.
Although we know how political that is anyway.
So that unguided moment,
yeah,
we must try as much as possible. And we have to come to the aid of government in this direction. It's not about government all the time. When government says you don't do it, we also should condemn it. And that's what we are doing here. That what we need to hear from people. And although election is coming,
yeah, but
I don't want to hear about the history of Akeredolu. I don't want to hear the history of who is going to emerge as the PDP candidate. What I want to know is that I can. Ondo State can survive.
You can't divide the election from the person being put forward. Like you rightly mentioned, that if the person you're putting forward must be clean, like you say, he is clean. Do you understand? So every political party will manipulate that loophole in his or her own favor. There's nothing one can do about it.
Yes, they will magnify even a small problem. They will magnify it. But what we are saying is that it should be reduced to the barest minimum.
Okay.
We should not encourage it. In fact, if it is not possible, if it is possible to make sure that in Nigeria today, because the central team in Nigeria today, you check it out, all the election we have been holding since 1999 today, it's just about Obasanjo is too ugly to become a president, Buhari is too, he doesn't who he looks like. So these are the kind of key things we hear about in our election. And that's not what we need. What we need is that Nigeria has a capacity to become one of the best space occupied by women being on earth. Why
if we look at that,
Ondo State election, it's a lesson now that we don't want to hear abuses. You can abuse for 2 minutes for entertainment, but the central team was with that the economy of Edo State, Ondo State, Ondo has bitumen, he has this, and Ondo State has how do you analyze it? That's what we need from you. How do we ensure that between now and the next 4 years, I will take Edo to a point where we will almost not be relying on the
but
allocation coming from Abuja.
Do you think such campaign thrives because that is what people want to hear? Perhaps is that the reason?
That's why we say government, we need a political education for people that see these people just call so 15 naira. It's just a way of calling the dollar for you. If you listen to that, that's what you should be listening to. What you should be listening to is what do you want to offer? It's an expectation that we should not be pursuing. It's a thing that we must not listen to. Having said, if there are issues that the guy must answer to, I'm not against that. As a criminal record, must bring it to the table. It's not fit to become an election for health reason, must bring it to the table. Whatever thing you have that you think being the governor of Edo State is going to be a thorough mistake for people of Edo, if you have to bring it on board. And those are the kind of things that people slide into and get abusive about.
Yeah, but that's the ideals. What is supposed to be, those are the ideals. If we bring it back to the reality of things, we see that Edo State, for instance, the temperaments, the political temperaments of the people themselves, not even the political party, sometimes determine how the party go into their campaigns. If you come to Lagos, the political temperaments of the people are different. If you go to Sokoto State, for instance, is also different. So do you think that the way the people are is what determines how the political parties carry out their campaigns? You'll certainly answer that, but let's go out on TVC Entertainment. Viewers there can continue with the program on TVC Nigeria on Concert Channel 190, DSTV Channel 418.
Go TV 45, ACTV 510. Let's continue the conversation.
Right, thanks for staying with us on TVC Breakfast. We're discussing Edo State election this morning. All is set for the election and reporters are everywhere, journalists from everywhere in the country and from all parts of Africa and parts of Europe and even the Americas are all converging on Edo State to monitor the elections there. There's a lot at stake for the Edo election, and we're discussing that. Our reporters are all over the place across the state as well to bring you updates as to how things are going on. And minutes from now, we'll start having them and hearing from them what the reaction of the people and how the day is starting. And we have in the studio with us Razak Olokoba, and we are discussing discussing the Edo election. Now, I was asking earlier on, do you think the people, what they want to hear, because she talked about what the people want to hear, does it determine or does it impact how the political parties carry out their campaign, or how they, because in some places you talk about ideology or issues-based campaign. There are other places where you have the issue of ethnicity. There are other places you have the issue of religion. So political parties are bound to cash in, or you tactically cash in on whatever campaign that is going to give them an edge.
You're right. There are peculiar issues that every politician must understand if you are going there. There are instances where you get to a place, what is catchment in a certain region is not, it's a demerit in the particular region. Yeah. We must recognize that, but at no time must we replace that for abuse. For instance now, anybody that wants to become the president of Nigeria must first understand that what is central in the north is the question of their religion, which mingles with their culture. So any campaign that you want to do you must recognize that. You must try to assuage and assure the Northerners that we are coming to change the face of North, but we are going to keep your institutions intact for you. So if you are coming to Yoruba land too, you must also understand that the nature, free nature of Yoruba. We want a common system of railway, common system of education. So you must also, that must also be appealing. So the Igbos, the commercial nature, business will flow, life will be better for the Igbo people. You move to any part of the country, you'll be accommodated, we ensure your security because of acephalic nature. So these are issues that you must recognize, but that must not at no point be mistaken for insult and abuse.
But so another school of thought will say sometimes the other party becomes defensive and confrontational when you really don't have much to show for what you've been. Perhaps if you've been an incumbent governor, if you don't have much to show for it, then you become defensive, you become confrontational, and such abuses will have a free day.
So what's the opposition doing then? Why will you allow your opposition to drag you into his favorite terrain?
It's a box you to a corner.
So why will you not do? Why will you? So the opposition who is coming, who knew that the incumbent party, we are not taking Edo as
just
we are just doing normal analysis. You should not allow your opposition to drag you into his favorite terrain where you know that you'll be boxed down. You have to go to a level playing field. You must make sure that you compel him, you lure him out to come and tell us what he has up his sleeve for the people of the state he's contesting for. So, and the same thing applies for Edo. If you look at the campaign, gradually we'll get to a point in this country where if you want to become a councillor, there's nothing that you want to become except people who are already building their career in office as a police officer, as a civil servant. Anything you want to do in this country, we'll get to a point where it can't be game as usual before, where son of nobody has idea, but son of somebody who does not have idea will just emerge and will continue to mismanage the nation. That point, that system has to stop, and that's what has happened in Edo. Let them abuse themselves, but at least the voters have been able to catch in on something. The rating that Clinton had yesterday has gone up a bit more. Trump has assured a bit, so he's going to work on it again. And we must get to that point too. Our country must be program-based, our politician must be program-based, must be manifesto-based campaign. It's not a question of do you have guys who can shoot very well, do you have guys who can harass very well. We must stay away from it. It doesn't pay us. And we have seen the result. From 1990 today, we have seen the result that if we continue to run our life the way we have run it in the last 16 years, the result is what we are having now. We do not hold our politicians responsible. We don't hold them responsible for what do you want to offer us.
In other climes, really, if you've observed, the politicians employ professionals, media professionals, people who understand how to craft campaign messages, how...
I knew that Trump would be trashed because I follow what Clinton was doing. It has happened over and over and over again. You see, it's not good to display intellectual arrogance. If you are brilliant, if you are intelligent, yeah, fine. But you must also learn from others. Trump did not sit down to look at what do I want to say tomorrow. He never took time to do that. Clinton was busy doing that. Issues by issues, issue by issue.
Well tutored, I guess.
Yeah, well tutored. Like you have said, he has sat down with professionals. He has sat down with people who know how to listen. He sat down with people who know how to respond to issues. And if you look at Clinton, he's talking like a trained person.
But if we liken it to Nigeria, for instance,
politicians.
If we liken it to Nigeria, narrow it down.
We are the one indulging them not to behave like that. People indulge them not to do that because they listen to what they say, what you want to listen to. Like she has said before, and you two have said it, so that Nigerians they want to listen to the way Obaseki has abused the PDP guy, the way the PDP guy has abused Oshiomhole. So they knew that is not good for us. We must take our society back to society of thinkers, society of people who read, who understand, who know the implication of every single policy. I was impressed, either good or bad decision, when the student leader said that he's not in support of sale of property. Whether the decision he took is right or wrong, but the students are coming back to take part in designing our national policy. It's a good thing. But before, and that's where it begins, right from school, we must begin to pay attention. My own first rustication in 1989 in school was because of anti-sharp riot. We said if we take sharp riot, our ladies will become prostitutes. There was no Yahoo that time, but there was a language we used that looks like a Yahoo situation. That's why our young men will find themselves in the next 20 years, and it happened. Babangida must go, IMF. These are issues that student Ali must go. Central with the student play.
Yeah, Ali must go. The very popular one.
That's where it begins. All these structures, the labor unions, critical sectors like that must begin to ask questions. They must be present in debates, anti-debates. Party should not do a selection. So the media are doing good work, and a body must emerge who will compel, carry out the campaign that this is a neutral body.
All right.
You must tell us what you intend to offer us.
All right. Now, let's focus more in Edo State.
Yeah.
Looking at the timing, or what do you think is peculiar about the Edo State election this year? What is at stake?
Well, for APC, let's talk about APC first. For APC, is one of the test cases for APC. It's going to determine the rating of APC in Nigeria. If they win, if they lose, it's going to go a long way how the people will look at them. For the economic situation in the country today, whether they are getting it right or not, it's going to rub off on whether they lose or win the Edo election. That's one. And for PDP, either win or lose, it's either going to be a comeback for them, or it's going to also going to further nail their coffin that's about to go into the ground. So it's very, very, very important election, both to APC
how about
for PDP.
Yeah,
not for the people.
How about the other parties? We have the Labour Party, we have the ABGA. By rating, these are some of the other contenders that are closer to the two horse race.
Yes. We do respect to others that are contenders, but that's our Trump and Clinton. And they do the PDP and the
but when it comes to the issue of the democracy we're trying to build, all of them are part of it.
That's what I'm coming to. So it's a thing that we must all talk about. But you and I know, though probably no opinion should not be taken too much serious. You must do your work, because the plebiscite in UK that time favors Scotland. When it came out, it discovered that Scotland said, I don't want to leave UK. So also, the public opinion says that Clinton will give Obama a resounding defeat. You remember then? But it turned out Obama, so our public opinion at times can be misleading. So we might say that it's for PDP and APC that's taking the front line. We turn out to be something else. Though it's unlikely, but we must also bear in mind that everybody must do their work. They must assume that they have not gotten any kind support yet, but they are going to feed, to work, and do so. For other people that are also, it is a good thing that the space is not left to APC and PDP only. It is good that there's a challenge for that, such that undue arrogance will not be there. It is not good for any government to be comfortable. It's in times of, I do not have anybody opposing me. You must be kept at your toes. The policies that you want to bring out, you must look at it critically. What is the opposition going to say? So that there's a challenge in that direction. I like it. Now, for the people of Edo State, we said it when Buhari and Jonathan was contesting elections. And we said that, look at your next 4 years in your life. Remove 4 years from your life. It's a critical thing. It's important. The people of Edo must look at the next 4 years of their life in Edo and look at the program. APC has done it before. PDP has done it before. Nobody should be able to convince any Edo voter that, no, the APC candidate come in soon. You cannot access him with the password. Wrong. Don't believe such campaign. The PDP, if you are told that what the PDP done in the past should not be used for assent, don't listen to anybody. This is the party. It's a continuation. So use the past effort of PDP in Edo, the past effort of APC in Edo. Use that. Marry it with the profile of the kind that is coming to contest, and take your judgment. So that's what I'm going to tell people of Edo.
So it's a personal thing.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
All right. All right, Razak Olokoba, thank you very much for coming on
It's a
TVC
pleasure.
Breakfast.
Thank you.
Thank you.